Yeah, welcome everybody. So today we'll begin with Linux, right? I'll be showing you guys how to use Linux, how Linux is its structure, how to use it, and some basic tools as well. Yeah, so from this side of the course going, we'll be talking about we'll be using Linux for most of our stuff. That's why I chose to make a video on Linux. Actually, it was supposed to be for web app pen testing, right? That's for this video, but upon further consideration, most of you are new to Linux, right? So I chose to make a video on Linux rather. Okay, so let's begin. So like I said, first you must have your virtual machine over here, which is your Kali. You can either have it as your actual operating system or as a virtual machine. So over here I have it as a virtual machine and it's running. If you want to run it, you know how to set it up, right? Yeah, I gave you guys a video on that long ago to watch, right? Yeah, so if you have Kali running, you just move to your Kali machine or your Kali virtual image, right? Log in. The default credentials will be Kali and Kali, right? Wow. Yeah, yeah. So when you launch Kali, right, what counts is the GUI for the GUI interface of Kali, right? Yeah, it's can either be using this display managers that we have KDE, we have KDE Plasma, we have Genome as well, right? So it all depends. You can set that, but we won't be talking about that now. So this is not the actual interface, right? It will load in a couple of seconds, right? Depending on your machine speed. Okay, so let me. Okay, so this is the Kali interface, right? So yeah, so in Kali Linux, it's just like Windows, but not like Windows. It's like you have a normal GUI, but it's not like Windows at all. So you press your Windows button over here, right? What pops up is the application menu, and these are the tools that are available on your machine, right? So we have the usual applications, right? Over here, accessories side, we have some stuff for like basic stuff, right? Yeah, and then we have the reconnaissance. So the tools under the reconnaissance are for, when you say reconnaissance, it's for gathering information, right? So reconnaissance is the same as information gathering. So these tools can be used to gather information. This for Bluetooth information gathering, host discovery, and we have network information as well, right? Yeah, we have vulnerability scanning, web scanning, web vulnerability scanning. Yeah, that Nicto will be around this side or something. Yeah, Nicto will be around this. I will be using Beb Suite, by the way. Yeah, Beb Suite. That's what I'll be using. So yeah, I'll go more into that later on. And we have resource development, right? We have initial access, um, execution, persistence, privilege escalation. All these ones, when you the more time you spend in cybersecurity, the more you get used to them. So we have privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement, collection, command and control, exfiltration, impact and forensics. Yeah, and we have some other tools as well. As you know, this is also available on Windows, PowerShell, and the normal terminal. Yeah, but we'll be using a terminal most of the time, right? So yeah. So now let's jump right into the terminal. The GUI is actually simple to get used to it since most of the stuffs are grouped, right? So um the terminal, there are a lot of terminals on Kali, right? Yeah, Kali. We have PowerShell, we have the normal terminal, and this is the admin version of the terminal. That's the root version of the terminal, right? Yeah, so we also have on some machines you have terminator as well. It's actually part another kind of terminal, but you can split the screen and some other advanced capabilities as well. Okay, yeah, and yeah, so we'll be using this terminal, this normal terminal. So you just click on the icon over there, and the terminal will just open up. Yep. Oh, I just closed it. Sorry. All right. So I'm going to maximize it. Okay. So when you open your terminal, you see your username over here and the machine's name, right? So Kali as Kali. Yeah. So on a terminal, right, you are supposed to know some basic commands when it comes to using Linux, right? Most of the stuff that we're using will be based on terminal because most powerful stuff are down the Linux. I really like the terminal a lot. I use it almost every day. In fact, every day. Yeah, every time. Okay, so let's get right into it, right? Okay, so let's say when I click on my folder icon over here, right, and then I hover over this desktop, I see the subfolders of the desktop, which is BlackPX. That's the only folder I have on my desktop, right? So if I want to show the folders inside my desktop folder, right, we use something that the command that we use is called ls, right? Yeah, so ls. It also has some flags attached to it, but we'll be talking about flags now. So but first you have to know where we are so that you know where to go. So where we are, right, to know where we are, just type pwd print working directory, and this is our location now, right? So we want to know what is inside, like the location that we are in right now. So what we use is ls, right? So we type ls and we know, okay, we have desktop over here, we have documents over here, we have downloads over here. Yeah, we have all these folders and files over here. So we want to know what is inside the desktop folder. So what you type is ls desktop. Since the desktop is also over here, you can remove the slash or you can just leave it. So ls desktop, it will list everything on the desktop. So as you can see, the folder we saw, right, this folder, yeah, BlackPX, is the same over here. So now you know how to use the terminal for doing this, right? Yeah, navigating through folders, sorry, listing folders. So now if you want to we are still inside the home slash Kali, right? So if you want to change your location to your desktop, like you want to move to your desktop, right? So this is a symbol for your home directory of the current user, right? Yeah, every user on Linux, on Linux you can have multiple users, right? So every user on Linux has their own home directory. Now you have slash home slash Kali. So if I had an account that's saying slash xCyberX, you see slash home slash xCyberX. So if I had an account called Prime, I'll see slash home slash Prime over here, and I'll see Prime at Kali over here. Yeah, this side. Okay, so now I want to change my current location to my desktop folder. So what I'll type is cd. It stands for change directory, right? Desktop. And then now you can see that it changes to this, which means I'm currently inside a desktop folder, the pwd, and I see that, oh, I'm in the desktop folder. Okay, so what's inside my desktop folder? Let me type ls without adding the desktop since I'm inside it. So ls, and I see everything over here. Okay, all right. So now if you want to clear your screen, just type clear, right, and it will clear everything. All right. So if you want to read the contents of a file in my directory, right, I have a file called no, let me not use one. Let me change directory to BlackPX, right? So BlackPX, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I have this over here. So I want to if I want to open, like how in any machine you would like to read the contents of a file using a text editor or something, or a word processor. If I want to view the contents of a file without opening it, right, use what you call cat, right? So cat is for opening files, sorry, reading the contents of a files. Okay, not opening them, just reading the content. So I'm going to read netcat.py. So netcat.py, and I press enter, then I see this. Okay, yeah, this was something I was working on. It's incomplete, by the way. um, I was following something from a PDF I read, Black Hat Python. Okay, so yeah, As you can see, I didn't open the file. I just showed what's inside the file. Okay, so cat, let me do the same for the rest of the file. TCP client, right? Yep. And then I just view the contents of the file. Okay, so if I want to create a new file, right, there are multiple ways of doing that. You can either use a text editor that I like using on the terminal a lot. It's called Nano, right? So you just type Nano and then the name of the file. Okay, so Nano, let's say cyber.txt. Yep, it's opening a file called cyber.txt, and then you type the contents of the file. Okay, this is cyber.txt, and then with Nano, right, you can see the shortcut over here. The caret you see before the letter stands for control. Okay, so if you are done typing, you just press control plus X. It will ask you to save modified buffer, and then you just press Y, which is yes, and then it will ask write file to this one, and just press enter. That's all. So now if I check my directory, I'll see cyber.txt. okay, yeah, cyber.txt. So if I want to view the contents of the file, what will I use? Which is we've talked about the cyber.txt. That's all. And the other way is using echo, right? So normally if you run a command and maybe you want to store the output inside a file, you can use file redirection, right, to do that. So we'll be using file redirection, right? So echo is a command that prints to, it's just like print in Python, right? So it uses something like the print. So let's say if I type echo hello world, right, world, it will print to my screen hello world. Yeah, so it's just like print. So if I want to send this to a file, right, use something that we call redirection. So I redirect the input over here to a file, right? So hello world, and then I'll use the greater than sign. So the greater than sign is used to show that where do I want the output of this, the output of the command on the left to go. So I want it to go to test.txt, which means I won't see any hello world on the screen. I'll just see nothing, right? But the test.txt has been created. You can see it over here. Yeah, so now if I view test.txt, yep, hello world, right? So you notice that when I'm typing the name of the file, right, something comes up. So if I'm typing the name of the file, I press T, right, there are two files that start with T, TCP underscore client. If I press tab, nothing will happen, right? So just list this thing over here. Which one am I talking about? So if I continue and type E, the tab key can automatically complete it, right, depending on the name of the file that it matches. So you just press tab, it will finish it for you. That's all. Okay, so yeah, like I said, file redirection. Okay, so these are basic terminal commands, right? Yeah, and if I want to delete a file, I'll use rm, right? Yep, and the name of the file, so I'm going to delete test.txt. And if I check, I've deleted text.txt. Same goes for cyber.txt. I'm not going to delete it. If I want to move a file, right, but first, if I want to rename a file, the process of moving a file in a terminal can be used to rename a file. Yeah, so if I want to rename a file, sorry, if I want to move a file, let's say I want to move this file, right, to the previous directory, I'll type mv, which stands for move, and then the name of the file, cyber.txt, and then the location that I want to move the file to. So now I want to move it to slash home slash documents, sorry, slash home slash Kali, right? That's the directories that are available. Documents. Okay, So now if I check my current directory, you see there is no cyber.txt because I've moved it. So I'm going to change my position, right? So now if you want to move back to like one folder back to where you came from, you just type cd dot dot and to take you back. You can see it has taken me from blackpx to the desktop folder. Yep. So now I'm going to change directory to my, okay, I'm not done. I have to go back to my home directory again. Alright, so cd dot dot, which will send me back. And now you can see that, yeah, I have the documents folder over here. So I'll change directory to the documents folder, humans folder. Okay, and then when I list the contents, you can see the cyber.txt that removed, right? There's it over here. Okay, so now let's say I want to rename the name. I want to rename the name of cyber.txt to final.txt, right? Yeah, or name it to cyber underscore renamed.txt. I'll use the same move command. So mv cyber.txt and then the name of the file, right? So I'm going to rename it to cyber underscore renamed.txt .txt. And now when I list the contents of the directory, you see cyber.txt is no more. It has been renamed to cyber underscore rename.txt. So if you check the contents, you see it has the same data as it had, right? So yeah, it does it. Alright, so throughout this course, right, previously everything we did was done on Windows because I knew most of you automatically had Windows. So I started with Windows so that you get used to it, and the tools we use were already created by others, right? So that's it. Alright, so from now on we'll be using Linux for our stuff, right? So there are some tools that I would like you to get used to, know what they are used for, and yeah. Okay, so the first tool we're talking about is under reconnaissance side, right? We have Dare-Buster, right? So Dare-Buster is for something like directory brute forcing, right? So when let's say there's a website, right? You want to know the directories that are available on a web server. You can use Dare-Buster, right? So when we say brute forcing, it's like forcing your way into something. So this is how Dare-Buster looks like. You enter the URL of your target and you tweak these settings to the way you like them to be, but now you'll not be tweaking them. Okay, so yeah, Dare-Buster. And then we have Suite, the one I'll be using the most. Yeah. Okay, so Suite is what we'll be using, right? Yeah. Yeah. So Suite is used for web app penetration testing, right? So what we'll be doing is that yeah, it will serve as a proxy for us, right? So within our browser, when you say a proxy, proxy is something that does something for someone. Okay, so in the real world we have a proxy. So when you go to the restaurant and then you order for food, the waiter or the waitress serves as a proxy from the kitchen to you. Okay, so when you order something, it goes through the waiter before you get it. So in cybersecurity, right, or in the normal internet setting, yeah, when we say a proxy, it means something that does something on the behalf of something else. So when what we're doing here is that when we visit our web application at a particular URL, first the request that we the HTTP request, right? Yeah, it's whenever you request something from a URL, it generates something that's called an HTTP request, and the web server sends an HTTP response. Okay, so that request will pass through Suite, right? We configure it to pass through Suite so that we can alter some of the parameters or yeah, the payloads, and then we send it to the web server as if immediately the person requested a page, a person got inside. So you can also drop it. So if somebody searches for www.google.com, you can use Suite to change it to www.tryhackme.com. Yeah, and that's a simple scenario I can give. Okay, and then we have Metasploit, right? So Metasploit is a framework, right? Metasploit framework, that's for exploitation, vulnerability, can also be used for some small vulnerability assessment, post exploitation, and all those kind of stuff. So whenever you have access to a system, right? Yeah, you can use Metasploit for that. And you can use to perform some post exploitation stuff. Okay, so I think these are the ones I will be using. You as time goes on, when we get to some tools I haven't talked, any tool that we use, I will explain more about the tool before we start to use it. Okay, since most of you are new to um Linux. Okay, so thank you for your time, and see you in the next lesson. All right.